afternoon at this celebration of women, honoring Dr. DeBrucy and remembering Reverend Patterson, two extraordinary women. We all want to be extraordinary in some way, to be really good at something. But we are, most of us, ordinary women, and we play the roles we're asked to play. As girls, we are daughters, sisters, and granddaughters. We become students and friends, and when we go to school, our friends now include boys, and every relationship seems to ask a different role for us to play. Our teen idols tell us what we should wear and how much we should weigh. We grow and take on more roles. We become wives and mothers, college students, co-workers. We become grandmothers and widows. All our lives we have roles to play. Some roles we choose while others are handed to us. But we do our best to play them all well. What I never realized was that I was role-playing at all. I grew up in the age of objectivity when, as Richard Rohr writes, you didn't need to know much about yourself or your parents. Your unconscious was comfortably unconscious. But I loved my unconscious life. I never questioned who I was or how many of my actions were based on expectations or my desire to please, and how many came from my real self. I never asked, was it okay just to be me? As our children started finishing school, however, I noticed in them a self-knowledge and awareness that resonated in me. I wanted to know my real self. I wanted to live a more deliberate life. That, to me, was extraordinary. So at age 50, I set out on a mission. One day, the light went on. After striving for so many years to be superhuman, to love everyone, to fix everything, to feel bad when I made a mistake, I suddenly started to see myself as truly human with all the baggage that I bring, an ordinary woman. I then, okay, notes time, sorry. Well, I began to see myself as truly human. An ordinary woman with all the baggage that I bring, my mistakes, my messiness, and my natural ability to love. All women have a natural ability to love. It is part of our being. It is not a role we play, but a conscious choice that comes from who we are. We are the peacemakers. Justice, on the other hand, takes a little more deliberate effort. But any mother who has spent Christmas Eve switching labels on packages so that everyone got the same number of gifts can speak to our need for things to be fair, to work for justice, and to strive for an equal playing field for everyone. But how do we take our ordinary actions to something higher? How do we step out of our role playing and take advantage of a grace-filled opportunity? We begin by living a more deliberate life, by working to understand ourselves, our motives, our strengths, and our weaknesses. It happens when we acknowledge our capacity to love and be loved, when we are able to look in the mirror and sincerely know, love, and accept that person, that we bring something extraordinary to our families, our work, and our relationships. But how does that happen? Let's go back to our natural ability to love. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love never fails. In his letter to the Corinthians, St. Paul was very precise in the kind of love that we should have. As ordinary women, we want to love like that, to always be patient, never brood over injury, never be jealous. What was he thinking? How realistic is that? Does St. Paul, when he says, I was brought up a good Catholic, I can feel guilty about anything you care to mention. I don't need those expectations to make me feel bad when I make a mistake. Does he really want me to behave like that? No. No, he doesn't. Let's take St. Paul's description, but instead of doing the loving, put yourself in the midst of it. We want to be loved like that, and that's the answer. Think about being loved by someone who is always patient, never jealous, pompous, or quick-tempered, who is always kind and patient, who accepts you totally and completely for who you are. Baggage and all. What an awesome responsibility to be loved like that. And when you are loved like that, or I should say, when you become aware that you are loved like that, not just in your head, but in your heart, then you can look in the mirror and see the extraordinary person that you really are. And that is faith, accepting that you are loved totally and completely. But there's a problem with faith. You can't sit still when you have it. You've got to get moving. You have to respond to it, to serve other people. You have to move outside of yourself, and that's where leadership begins. In writing about servant leadership, Robert Greenleaf says that the first and most important choice a leader makes is the choice to serve. The choice is not an action in the normal sense. It is not something you do, but an expression of your being. This call to service requires today's leaders to shift the way they think, away from what they do and to what they can help create, away from control and toward responsiveness. It calls for amazing acts of faith, letting others stand on your shoulders. In addition to their decision to serve, leaders focus on values, on moral values, and set an example that allows others to be their best selves, and ethics are key. Ethics are the principles of what is morally good and bad. And ethics should determine our moral values, which then should set the norms for society. Sadly, today, this is turned upside down. Societal norms are now looked to for the values that set our moral standards. Abortion is just one example of something that was desired by enough people to get a law passed in its favor so that it has become the accepted norm. That may have eased the conscience of those who desired it, but it has shifted the moral focus of the sanctity of human life. While desires tend to draw us inwards, values focus our attention outward and ask us to respond to something beyond ourselves. Leadership requires a moral fiber that pays attention to values and assists in bringing individuals to a higher level of integrity. Clearly, everyone here, men and women alike, would like that level of integrity to be the accepted norm. It's not an easy road to travel, but it is what is expected of us, of those who choose to act on the extraordinary person we know we are. In public service, we have a unique opportunity to impact people's lives. I could be your child's teacher, the guy from Weights and Measures making sure you don't get ripped off at the gas station, or the politician you elected because you feel I can make things better for you and your families. What a responsibility. What potential to create something amazing. Leadership emerges at every level of public service. But it takes courage to go from just what's in your job description to setting a higher bar, from playing it safe to going well beyond. I have known too many coworkers who choose to play it safe, who never let their potential reach achievement, afraid to rock the boat. If Marianne Williamson was speaking to women, she was certainly speaking to public servants when she said, our biggest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our biggest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It's our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God, and your playing it small doesn't serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that those around you won't feel insecure. We were born to manifest the glory of God within us. You don't need a job in the public sector to have that kind of impact. You just have to get over playing it small. You start by unleashing the extraordinary person you know is within you. That person who is loved totally and completely. You start with deliberate acts founded in a faith that won't let you sit still. Those deliberate acts become habits. Those habits reflect your values. Acting on those values and raising others up to a higher level is what faith-based leadership is all about. Thank you.